Alright, in this lecture, we're going to learn how to draw the human ear. Now, I know the human ear can be very complicated and really hard to understand, but in this lecture, I'm going to show you how to look at the ear in simple shapes. That way, drawing it is very easy for you. So the first thing I like to do is I like to think about the ear in its biggest shape, which is sort of an egg-like shape. Now, depending on your ear, it might be a little bit smaller, it might be a little bit bigger, it might be a little bit different in shape, but for the most part, it's sort of an egg-like shape. So it's smaller at one end and larger at the other, yet it's a very rounded shape. Next, you need to break it up into three separate shapes. So the first one is your curved shape. So there's going to be a shape that comes around like so, and that's your first shape. So it's very simple to think about. And then on this bottom edge, you're going to add a little bit of some form to it like so, but then it's going to get a lot smaller the more you get around this curved shape. The next shape you need to think about is the Y. So there's sort of a letter Y within this ear. So if we go ahead and draw that in, but this is a curved letter Y, and so it's going to have the top part like so, and then that's going to curve around right into here like so. At the end of this Y, there's going to be sort of a bowl shape. But you have the letter Y in there, and now we also have this curved shape right here. The last shape you have is a sort of a bump. So there's going to be a little bit of a bump, and it's going to start right at the same line that this circle is on the end of our Y, and it basically just bumps off like so. Once you have your basic shape like this drawn out, it's pretty simple to find the rest of your ear. So basically, if we go ahead and erase this away just a little bit so it's a little bit lighter, I don't want to erase it completely away, we still want to see it a little bit. Well, now we can go ahead and draw our ear. So first we're going to start with the lobe. So there's two different types of lobes. There's a dangling lobe, and then there's also a connected lobe. So a connected lobe is when you see the lobe and it connects like so, and a dangling lobe is when it comes up and then it comes back down and the lobe kind of dangles there. In this case, we're going to create a dangling lobe. So there's our lobe right there. Then the ear is going to come out, and then it's going to come back in just a little bit, about here in the middle of our ear shape. Then that's going to come back up, and then we're going to get a little bit of a straight line right there, and then that's going to curve all the way back around into our head like so. So there's the basic contouring line of our ear. Now we can move on to the inside of the ear. So first off, we're going to start off with the outside shape. So we have our curved shape that we drew in here, and we're going to use that as a guide. So starting right here, we're going to go ahead and start to introduce a second line that kind of follows this one on the outside pretty closely. So we'll go ahead and draw that in. As we get up here, it kind of dips down just a little bit, and then we go ahead and we curve all the way back over, and then this is going to come down into our ear itself, onto the inside of it. So like our shape, it curves in like so. Next, let's go ahead and work on the Y shape. So first off, the Y at the bottom has this little circle. That's going to turn into its own shape like so, and then that is going to turn into this shape right here, which is following our Y shape. And then we're going to go ahead and use that same shape right over here to create the inside of our ear. And then we have another shape coming off over here, another line from our Y, but rather than just drawing that in, we're going to go ahead and shade in the space in between this line and that line. And then we're going to go ahead and shade in the space on the other side as well. So that way we're still using that shape of the Y. It's just not being drawn necessarily. Next, we're going to come over to our bump, and the bump is basically where it's covering the ear hole. So we can go ahead and start to sketch in that ear hole a little bit darker, and then this shape right here curves into this one right here, which this one starts to curve in that direction. And they start to curve together till they taper off and sort of disappear. Then we can go ahead and darken in this area of our ear. And then right here, these two shapes are bump and this little circle right here, they connect like so. Then we can go ahead and shade that in. All right, perfect. Now let's go ahead and start shading in our entire ear. So generally this area in here is going to be darker. And the areas that are really dark are just areas that are further back and are deeper into the nooks and crannies of the ear. And so they're getting shadows cast on them, or in them. Then we'll go ahead and shade this area. Then we can go ahead and start shading up here. And we'll also add a little bit of shading on the bottom side of our ear, like so. And we'll go ahead and also shade on this bottom side, because as it curves down into here, it's going to get some shadow on it. We're also going to get a little bit of shadow on this underside of the outside of the ear. We can also go ahead and darken this outer area a little bit more. Also, since the light is coming down from the top, we're going to get a little bit of a cast shadow being cast from this ledge right here. So let's go ahead and add that in. So I'm going to have it come to about there. And we'll also have it cast on this part of the ear too. And we'll go ahead and darken in these darker areas that are within our cast shadow. Alright, great. So now we have an ear from a side view. Now, what does the ear look like from a front view? Well, let's go ahead and draw that. So basically, we're going to take this ear and we're going to turn it on its side. So we're looking at it from a front view of the human face. So first, we're going to go ahead and start by drawing a squished sort of egg shape, like so. And then what we do is we first draw this top area. So this top area comes out like so, and then it comes down. Now we don't want to continue that because what happens is our Y shape sort of protrudes out like so, and then it comes back into the earlobe. So then we can go ahead and draw in our earlobe down there. And then let's go ahead and draw in our bump, which will be right here. And that bump is going to connect into this curving shape. So it's going to curve around like so. And then we're going to go ahead and draw in the rest of our Y shape. So we get this side of our Y right there. We can go ahead and shade that in and shade that area in. And then we go ahead and we get this bottom side of the Y shape, and that curves all the way over into here. And then that comes all the way back into this shape right here. And then that will connect right there. Then we can go ahead and shade in right here. And we can also shade in on this side where our ear hole is going to be. And that's the side view of an ear. We can also add a little bit of more shading on this side like so. And now let's go ahead and move on to drawing the ear from the back side, because sometimes you might be drawing the back of a character's head and you won't know how to draw that ear from the back. So let's learn how to do that right now. So basically we're going to draw the same shape first. So sort of this squished egg shape where it's smaller on one end and larger on the other. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and draw this outside edge. We're only going to see that edge, and we're not going to see any of this detail on the inside of the ear since we're looking at the back of it. And it's basically going to be a little lip that's on the edge of the main shape of our ear. So there is the lip of our ear, like so. And then that's going to connect back to the head almost with a straight line, just like so. And then that's the edge of our head right there. And so that's what the ear looks like from behind. We can go ahead and add some more shading in there by darkening this underside. We can also darken within here on this shape. We can also extend this lip out a little bit more on this top side. But there you have it. That's the ear from the backside. It's the simplest part of drawing the ear. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this lecture. So in this lecture, you learned how to draw the ear from the side view, the front view, and the back view. Remember that when you're drawing your ear, you want to break it up into these 4 simple shapes. So first we break it up into the egg shape, which is the main shape of our ear. Then we want to break that up into the curved line that comes around like so, and it almost starts to turn into a swirl, but we don't go that far. But we want to make this curved line like so, and then we also want to add a little bit of a fat area down here to our shape, and then you want to add in the letter Y. So the letter Y goes in just like so, and then it connects like so. So now we have the letter Y, and then we add a little ball to the end of that. Next, we go ahead and add in this little bump right here. And that will set you up to draw a very realistic and well-rendered ear. I really hope you enjoyed this lecture, and your assignment for it is to go ahead and draw the ear from the side, and then I want you to go ahead and post that either to the Q&A section of the course or the Facebook group. Thanks for watching this lecture, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next one, where we're going to learn how to draw hair in its form and also how to add in the highlights to make it look very realistic.